everybody. Hope you're having a great day. We are on the first day of the International Congress for Home Training and Nutrition. And today I got a special person with me that I would like to introduce to you guys. So for you guys who are new to the Beefy Essential Movement, who don't know, we've been running this for the last more or less 5-6 years on and off, had different congresses, but our vision is so much bigger than just having a congress and just training dancers. We really want to take this entire movement to the next level. And if we could do it alone, we would have already done it. So we decided to team up with a live story and this beautiful person I'm talking with today, who is gonna be in charge of running the Dance Specific Talks podcast. We already is episodes out, and without further and before I start, this person is not a random person that we're picking in. She was in my first boot camp, the first challenge I ever launched. She was there. She is a great friend of mine. She's been dancing for the last 15 years. She is a hip hop dancer, whacking, kizomba dancer. She does tango. She's all types of crazy things. Without further ado, the beautiful teaser, AK Teresa. God damn it.
Damn, thank you, Sebastian. I'm super, super happy and honored to be here. I mean, look at it, how far we have come from that first boot camp, man.
For sure. The first 4-week boot camp, I recorded the whole thing with my phone.
And we did it everywhere. We were like, what room at what youth club can we get to train? And we brought the whole crew with us to do your tryout classes. And yeah, we just kept going ever since. It's beautiful work. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being part of everything. It's awesome. I'm so excited to have you running our podcast. I wanted to run a podcast for years. It's just time. Time is finite. It's not of abundance, so to say.
That's the thing, and I never saw myself running a podcast, but here we are. Corona took away all the dancing gigs that we can have in real life, and I just thought about, who can I help by going with my hosting skills from the battles into interviewing, and you were my first person, man, my first interview, and I thought it was gonna stop there, and now 30 weeks in, released an episode every week since then with amazing dancers from across the world. Learned a lot, heard a lot of stories, and this is just the beginning.
And you've been interviewing crazy people. You've been interviewing like just from the Latin scene. There's knows a lot of Latin dancers like Tanya Alemana, Judith Cordero, Teresa Jimenez. You got Sara Panero there also. So there's like you got some heavy hitters that you're interviewing.
Yeah, some powerful women. This Monday I released with Macarena Patton as well.
Nice.
And just wonderful people from the hip hop world. We had Capella, the biggest b-boy in the world, b-boy Negin, Marcio, of course, and much more. Very different styles, actually.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting. And everyone has different challenges within their style, but also within their country and their upbringing. So I love getting those stories.
Definitely, and that's also one of the things, right, with why we felt that you were such a good fit for running this together with us. That's like, you're so focused on pushing the culture, like the dance culture forward. So it just goes so hand in hand together with what we are doing here at Beefy and Sensual, right? Like constantly wanting to improve and constantly wanting to share messages and becoming better, both on and off the dance floor. Like I keep saying that, but it's true, you know what I mean? Like there is no other way of expressing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We always see the success stories, right, of dancers, but there's so many setbacks and there's so many challenges along the way. And when I interview all these dancers, I always want to make sure that they tell the real story, not just the ups, because otherwise the rest of us are going to feel like I'm having a down. What's wrong with me?
Exactly.
It's Sebastian, you already know about this, the spectrum from injuries to mental breakdowns to low self-confidence. All of those are injuries, and all of those can be healed and can really take us to the next level if we can push through. And that is the most incredible thing. And I know that we talked about this on the first episode, about some of your setbacks. How have you managed this year, talking about the whole down of the world? how have you managed to pull through and push through?
That's a great question. Like if you go back and listen to our the first episode of Dance Specific talks that you posted from my life story, if you go back and listen to that, like we spoke a lot about like, my mental issues that I went through, like when I was suffering. I don't like to say suffering because it's like I still have it, like and it's not a diagnosis, it's just the way I function by a default perspective, but I can't change it, and I can use that as a source of fuel. And like when I'm talking about this, that I had years that I went through like panic, anxiety, depression, like some really, really dark years, but I was really considering pressing like the reset button there for a while. But there is a way for you to use that as fuel. And I believe this is exactly what we did during the lockdown. Like we were so fast because I was based in Spain earlier. So we were so fast of like, okay, what is happening? It's like they are locking us in. Like, wait, they're locking the entire Europe in. No, wait, the whole world is shutting down. Okay, what can we do as fast as possible to give back to our community? So we ran a 30-day challenge, which was Dance Against Corona, which we ran two seasons, and it was approximately 2,000 dancers. We reached like 900 something first season, and then another 1,000 the second season.
Oh, that's incredible. That's like a perfect, clear example of like how can you turn this, because it's not a given and it's not gonna come solutions to you. You
That's the
just have
thing.
to try. You just have to try.
And that's the thing. It's like, and it's not even about trying. It's about doing it. It's like, okay, but what can I do? And I cannot change the law that they are locking us in. So what can I do to make this better? Okay, I can give back and just focus on giving back and focus on other people as much as possible. And then from there, something else will happen. Something will push us forward. You know what I mean? So like focus my mind on giving back instead of focusing on like, why me? Why am I stuck in Spain? Because my family in Sweden, like they were never in lockdown. Sweden was never in lockdown, so nothing happened.
Yeah. I think that this is a great. Today I heard a podcast, and one of the best things I heard about this was how you progress from pain. And I think that this is going to be a 3-word golden sentence: pain plus reflection equals progress. And that is such a powerful message. I feel like that is exactly what happens a lot. We have maybe lost people in the pandemic, we have lost something, people might have lost their jobs. And when that pain hits, you can either stay in the old pattern and the old pain, or you can reflect on it, maybe enter a new state of pain, but that's also when the progress happens. And I think that everyone has lost something. We all have been in some kind of pain: isolation pain, missing our family, trying to figure out why we can't go out, and we're missing the dancing, and who am I without the dancing, etc., etc. And we have had a big year of reflection. What has been like some of your biggest aha moments reflecting throughout this year?
I really think it's a great question, but I really think it's what we're talking about right now, and the reason why we're running the International Congress, like where I'm going to post this, right, where everybody's going to see it. It's that you need and can turn every obstacle into an opportunity, and it's just the way you're looking at it. So now it happened again. So I'm not based in Spain anymore. Now I'm based in Malta for a while, and from there it was like, okay, wait, are we looking into another lockdown? Like, is that really happening? Like, are they going to lock us in after like now or after Christmas, or what's going on right now? And then what we did is like, okay, but so much of other people in Europe and other countries are in lockdowns in the second wave. Okay, what can we do? Like, I unfortunately I don't have time to run 30-day challenges because it takes so much time and energy from us. But it's like, okay, but we can do a 4-day thing. Let's do a 4-day thing instead. So I really think that's my biggest lesson of the year, like turning an obstacle into an opportunity. And I tasted it earlier, like I tasted it even in the beginning of the year, because by the end of 2019, I did my second knee surgery. So I was already injured, like I already came back from injury. My leg was in full cast for a while. So yeah, really, like how to turn an obstacle into opportunity has been my biggest lesson for sure.
What would you say have been like some of your participants, your tribe, this movement that you created?
Mm.
What has been some of the feedback that you have got throughout these different challenges and stuff? What is something that is returning to you over and over again from people?
So a lot of people are facing like a lot of mental, like it's fear is what it is. It's fear of the uncertain that what is going on. Like, can I go to work tomorrow? Will I get deployed or laid off the day after? Am I going to be able to feed my kids? Like, when can I go back to dancing? So that is the thing. That is like, it's been more mental since the lockdown has started. Definitely. Which is also why we're running the third season of our mental discipline program in less than a year. You know what I mean? So all of these things are just like, how can we give back? What are people? And that's why I'm constantly in conversations with our movement. I am in the movement. I'm doing the workouts. I am in there. I'm running the webinars. If we do like monthly challenges, like I'm one of the first to sign up to them if I see them first. You know what I mean? But so I feel I'm so in the movement. So it's like, it's a constant conversation of coming back and forth. So, okay, now a lot of people are mentally fatigued. Okay, what can we give back to them? Okay,
Yeah.
after studying at the Norwegian School of Sports Science, after taking numerous courses online on like mental health and mental stability, and just, again, coming from having suicidal thoughts for the longest time to where I am today, it's like, okay, but what did I learn? Okay, I learned all of this. Let's see what the response is if we give it back to people. And then the response has just been incredible.
Yeah, I mean that the interesting part of when we're also feeling pain or fear is that we could, if we wanted to, dig into it deeper and find a gift. Like, what
Mm.
is the gift of me feeling this fear? What is the gift of me feeling this pain? And how do I make sure I never forget that gift? And how do I make sure I give that gift on to others? What has been like one of your biggest gifts that you have been able to like give through these mental programs, if you have like an example?
I think it's really like, because I'm so transparent in my communication, right? Like, I'm so much myself in whatever situation I'm in, and I think that has really came to a lot of people. So when we're talking about like, no guys, like I can really, like, are you're feeling anxious about life? Like, I can really relate to it. Like, I can really relate to what you're going through, even if each individual has like are going through their own things. So I think that, and just turning what you feel is like a curse to you again into a blessing. And again, it goes back to what we just talked about, right? Like, I think that's the most powerful concept any human can understand, that like obstacle is the way. Like, if you're faced with an obstacle, that might actually be the way where you should like push through a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting because, like, here's a very personal example about our friends, our friend relationship, where it's like you came by and um, you came to visit us in Amsterdam for a little short while,
Mm.
and when you were here, I got reminded again about the cold showers, which I have actually been keeping up since the mental discipline course. And when I do that, I actually feel like, okay, you know, fuck, I miss my friend. Yeah, we love having him here, and David as well. What is the one thing and one quality that I can take from him to carry with me and keep on giving me that gift? Because we miss our friends, and there's always like that quality that makes me feel like, you know what, he's with me every day. Every time I take that cold
Every
shower, I'm
time I'm in
like,
the shower.
every time it's like, no, you know what, every time I want to screw on that hot water, it's like I hear, the voice in my head like, you really want to do that? Because your
Sure.
body feels better, your body gonna feel better, you're gonna wake up faster, it's a great morning routine. And I'm like, damn it. And I'm just giving it to the cold. What is like, I'm so interested because you have all these qualities, but I'm sure that you look up to a lot of people as well. What is like one of the qualities of someone you look up to that you're trying to keep with you all the time?
That's a fantastic question. I don't know, to be honest with you. I look up to my family a lot. Like I'm not necessarily looking to other, you know, like looking to famous people and people around me for getting inspirations. I look to my family a lot. Like just and we are workers in my family. Like my family are like really like go-getters, like been working hard. So I see my mom, my grandparents on both my sides, my father, and just having that grit, so to say, like the grit of like constantly pushing forward and constantly wanting to be better. You know what I mean? So I think that definitely I take from my aunt, like a sense of tranquility. It's something I'm trying to be better at. Because, yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, definitely. And then it is like if I'm so fast to pick up inspiration. Like I get inspired so easily because I want to be inspired. I think that's the thing also. If you're like unconsciously pushing through life without like considering what's going on up here or in your surroundings, you're just gonna, nothing's gonna happen to you. Like my girl is fantastic at cooking food, you know what I mean? Which means that I want to be better at cooking also. Like she's a yoga practitioner, and I'm not that good in yoga. So it's like, okay, wait, so that I want, and that I want. I'm just constantly like picking from people around me. Like my best friend plays guitar. It's okay, cool, but I don't want to be the best, you know what I mean? I don't even want to be as good as he is. But let me just be able to enjoy a little bit. Because also that's how I get inspired. I just constantly, you know.
Yeah, because it's all about feeding that too. If you just keep on giving, and you never take that little time of like gifting yourself a new skill, a new taste, a new, just a new move or whatever, I think that is like so feeding. And I guess that's also why these programs are going so good. Like the mentor programs that people are like realizing that their living room can be not only a yoga studio, but a dancing studio and recording studio.
Exactly. And that's this whole weekend, this whole congress we're running right now is about just that concept. It's like the first webinar I'm running tonight is called The Best Way to Train at Home and to reach any of your goals, because you can do that. It's gonna take a while, but you can do that. And if you're in lockdown, you have no other choice. So you can get there. It is a possibility for you.
Yeah. I mean, and I also think that, this opportunity of us being a lot in the same place, in the same space, it's good for the focus because we're like forced now to focus, but it's also hard because of the distractions around us. What is some of your like biggest tips for people that has a hard time working from home and working out from home and actually, doing their self-investment from home? What is some of your best tips for like the the distractions around and not going to the TV, not going and doing other stuff?
Yeah, shut this shit off to start with. I think that's the thing. That's the first thing. Mine is in airplane mode. I run a lot on airplane mode, like for sure. I live with my best friend lives here, my girl lives here. It's like if I don't talk to my family, I shouldn't be on that phone. You know what I mean? Unless I speak to a student or my family, that should just be off. And work in intervals. So we have a full first of all, working intervals, like there is so many researchers that is backing that up. Whatever you're doing, take breaks. Stillness is the key. So many times wherever you want to go, if you want to stop procrastinating, stop doing X, Y, and Z, work in short bursts of intervals, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. I do that constantly. So, but I also been working a lot from home, right? Like I've been working years from home. I'm like, this is my fourth year, I think, third year that I'm working from home by myself. So I'm getting used to it. I'm really getting used to it by now. Have a schedule, have a start time, have an end time. I start at that time, I end at that time. I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible with the end time. For me, it can be like my work just continues because my work is my life and my life is my work. So I do enjoy it. But that also again emphasized the fact that like, well, I just need to shut down sometimes. Like I just need to take some days, not even a day off, like just an afternoon off. Like after this, I'm going to the ocean. After this, I'm going to the ocean. I just need an hour or two of like alone, read a book, and just exist. And I have a full video. I have a full video, or on my YouTube channel, like Coach Sebastian, or on and in the Facebook group, my Sunday routine. So I have a strict Sunday routine where I actually make sure that I hit all of the goals that I look over. So I have a goal, or what I call it an opportunity. I don't even call it a goal anymore. Like I have an opportunity, and this is where I want to go. And then there is a certain way for me to get there. And I need to break that down with strategies, habits, and just objectives. So like short-term goals. And then I have, every Sunday I rank myself. What was my weekly score? What did I do well? What can I improve? And what's the next step for me from here? That's like a quick summary of it.
And then you write that up, and do you then look back over the weeks? And...
Yeah. So then again, that's part of the Sunday routine. Like, okay, so then if I'm hunting after the same goal for a month, I don't read all of the scores I've got, but I read like during the Sundays, I'm looking over them. So if I see the similar things, if I say like, stop watching television or stop watching Instagram all the time. Okay, now I need to address that because that's a situation that's been recurring for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. Okay, but I need to address that point because that is taking away my focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if your goal is just to dance more, it's like, okay, but I want to dance more, but I don't have loud music in my home. Okay, so maybe I need to invest in a speaker. No, but I'm living in a dorm, so I can't have a speaker. Okay, but I need to play more music in my headphones.
Yeah,
so I think those are like my tips, at least how I address it.
It's so also interesting about what you're saying about addressing patterns and addressing, like, it's also sometimes is good ideas that were great before as well. Like I also, in this podcast I listened today, it was a great example about a group that built a raft in order to get over the river. And they were like, this is the best raft we've ever built. We're going to put it on our backs and we're going to carry it so we always have it with us to the next time. And then they came into a forest filled of trees, and the raft was now all the way in the way. They didn't want to let go, but they had to in order to move through the forest. And I think that is a beautiful example of like how some great ideas and patterns that we once had, and the fear of letting that go in order to fit into our new challenges, that is like such a big step to take. Do you have any of those like examples where once it was a great idea which put you to great places, but you really had to let it go in order to grow and progress into a new?
100%. Like, let's take my dance career. You know what I mean? Like, I was fortunate enough to start like relatively young. I started when I was 17, and I think I peaked my like. I danced. I'm still dancing. I'm still teaching workshops all the way until like BC. You know what I mean? Before COVID, I did all of that, but in my own progress, just because I've been so focused on this vision of mine, this vision of growing our movement to something bigger and training dancer and improving health and mental health for our culture. I knew like 5, 6 years ago, I took a conscious decision of like, okay, enough. This is over now. Like I'm still gonna ride that wave. I'm still gonna perform. I'm still gonna go and dance. I go out, like party. I go to social dances. But that vision of like me wanting to constantly be on stage, it had to take a backseat. I'm still, it's still in the car. You know what I mean? It's still the same car, but it's not driving the car anymore. It's in the backseat. Because if it would be in the front seat or right next to me or driving the car, this what we are experiencing right now would just never happen. So I believe that's really one of those times where I took a conscious decision of like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, and to take that and realize that, you don't know where that's gonna lead you. But in order for you to even try and even get that opportunity, as you said before, you just have to dump some weight along the way.
Sure, for sure, for sure. And I mean, I have so many different ones. I wanted to open a sneaker store for a while. I wanted to open a physical gym for a while. I mean, that's still one of my goals one day. But it was just like I wanted to do all of those things, but they were just in the way of what I wanted to, of my main vision, so to say. And I really believe that, like, and even if I said 5-6 years ago, like I said, 5-6 years ago, I told myself, okay, you're no longer is only going to dream about becoming or doing dancing. I traveled the most I ever traveled in 2018, but I still managed to make, like, all of those travels. I managed to stitch them together to what would be our movement. Okay, I'm teaching dance classes, but with a twist of training inside of it, or I'm constantly speaking of training, all of those things, 100%, 100%, and so many other stupid ideas that I came up with that I wanted to do that I never, that I never did.
But I think that like this is something I have like personally been struggling with a lot because it's old contracts.
Mm.
I had a contract that my biggest goal as a dancer would to be dancing behind Beyonce. Now I have to realize that I didn't sacrifice everything I had and move to New York or to LA in order for that to happen. But I
Mm.
still have been punishing myself for many, many years that I didn't become this background dancer because
Yeah.
what else would be the goal of dancing? And I had to really sit down with myself and say, you know what? Because you had that contract, you managed to do all these other dreams, but you're still punishing yourself for the only one goal you didn't achieve.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And
It's like there's a saying, like, a tree that falls makes more sound than the entire forest growing. It's you just beat yourself up over all that one mistake. You know what I mean?
that one thing, and it created all of this, right? I
Mm.
wanted to become a better dancer, so I created my crew. I've been in other music videos, I've been competing, I've become a host, I have my own podcast. Like none of these dreams are getting that recognition, and because you are bound to this old contract that you did when you were 12,
Mm.
and so for me I had to literally sign that contract and say, you know what, I'm okay with putting that away and start making new contracts, because otherwise I'm never going to feel achieved or feel fulfilled about what I'm doing today and what is now my new dream 2020. That's
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. And I think that's so, that transformation, like, we speak a lot about with it when our students join our, especially our inner circle students. When they jump on, it's like, okay, I want to achieve this. Like, one of the first things I ask is like, okay, but what are you willing to sacrifice? Like, what are you willing to give up for you to get there? Because if you just gonna continue doing what you've been doing already, you're never gonna make progress. You're just gonna add another thing. So progression doesn't mean like adding things. There's a lot of people that's like, I need to start meditate. I need to start eating healthy. I need to start doing this. I need to start doing that. They're like, yeah, but tell me what do you need to stop doing? Those are more important things, and that's a better question than, okay, what do I need to add?
Yeah. And also that progress is not that comfortable. To
Mm.
crack open and grow, it's painful. That's why we have pain when we're growing up. That's why the leaves are bursting and it cracks open. It's not always comfortable. But
Mm.
people think that if I add meditation, if I add this, it's going to be a smooth sail over to
No,
the other
no,
side.
no. Meditation can be painful. You know, I mean, if you dare to dive deep into your mind, meditation can be painful. 100%,
You
100%.
have to face that. You have to
Yeah,
face some things. I think that this conversation is so we have been hitting a lot of pointers in this conversation. I really hope that the people out here on this conference can like start taking notes, and some of the bullet points that we've been through literally in this conversation is, if we're backtracking, what contracts is no longer serving you,
mm,
what what things do you need to stop doing in order to start doing your new things, what patterns do you have about the raft that no longer serves you, what mindsets do you need to shift. and much more. We have to backtrack this whole conversation, but I think
There's a lot of things like obstacles as opportunities, and just changing your perspective. And I believe that's what's the biggest. I believe a lot of people should do this. You know, I mean, if you came this far in the podcast, I highly suggest like take up a pen and paper. Like, what was your biggest lesson of 2020? Like so far, what was the thing you learned in 2020? And how can you make that into an opportunity, or was it really an opportunity, or make sure you know.
Yeah, what has been painful and what was that gift as well? That is so important. When we have experienced pain or fear, where is that gift? What is that gift trying to tell us? And how do we make sure not to forget it when we're moving on now into 2021?
Facts. Yo, thank you for getting on this call together with me. I really wanted to introduce you to our movement. The pod is up. Where can we find it? Where can we find our podcast? Tell us.
So, of course, if you want to listen to the audio podcast, we're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, wherever you want to feel like you want to have your podcast. We're there, dance-specific talks. It should already be changed. And we are also currently on a live story on Facebook and YouTube. And we're also soon transferring this podcast into the BeFit and Sensual platform. So that's going to be big. We have some upcoming big dance artists. Yes. And feel free to backtrack. It's already 30 episodes out. All of them are very, very different from different parts of the world. And so I'm enjoying to hear your feedback, guys.
Yo, let's go. All right, champ. Talk to you very soon, okay?
Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.